All right, so we'll start on topic a little bit. Just if you could explain it in the simplest terms possible, why is it important for all New Yorkers to be online?
I wouldn't say it's important for everybody to be online in the way that some people think about it, but I do think it's important for every single New Yorker to have access to the internet, right? We're talking about a requirement to participate in not just the workforce, but in modern life. And 1 in 5 New Yorkers who live in the Bronx do not have that. And we just heard from a tenant who was saying that she was paying north of $200 a month for connectivity. In the most expensive city in the United States of America, these are parts of the ways in which all the costs start to overwhelm New Yorkers, push them out of the city. And today's announcement is one that doubles the number of New Yorkers that receive free internet right here in the Bronx, and that's incredibly exciting.
And then certainly, is there a little part of yourself that's hoping maybe you'll get some more views on your New York City mayor account, or get some more real views, get some more information out there?
No, I can tell you that there's no motivation from that.
A little bit on that though, I mean, a lot of there's been a million think pieces written, right, about how you're the first social media mayor, you're governing in this different way. Sort of building off today's announcement, how do you build that into your actual policy-making process? At what point are you thinking about how this is going to be communicated most effectively when you're developing policy?
I think policy is the heart of it. We have to work from the policy, and then we determine how to speak to New Yorkers about it. But oftentimes what we find is that the things that New Yorkers are engaged with, that they're paying attention to, are the things that have a greater relevance to their life. Sure. And so often we are not asking ourselves whether a policy will actually impact someone, but rather whether it's something that's easy to do. And there's too much in this city that is incredibly difficult to do, but is also incredibly important. And when we're talking about internet, this is something that you are using the internet even to find out when your bus is coming, when your train is coming. For so many landlords now, this is the way that you even pay your rent. And yet for too many New Yorkers, it's been a question of whether or not they can afford it, as opposed to how they can get it.
Pretty early in your process, you must be thinking about how you're going to film these videos, how you're going to develop that, because that makes good policy as well, right? The policy is not good if people don't know about it.
I would say that once we decide on the policy, then we determine how to communicate the policy. But I don't think they're all that different in that whatever is compelling to engage with is compelling for your life. And that's on us to make sure that we're actually making the decision that satisfies all of these things.
So in a similar vein, thinking about how your policy is being communicated and really just how your mayoralty is being covered, when you think about your relationship with the media, is there a time where you felt like you were treated unfairly?
I think my job is to engage with the media, and I think the media is a critical part of a healthy and functioning democracy. It doesn't mean that every day is an easy day or that we will agree on a number of things in the back and forth in a question and answer, but too often we've seen in our politics that when you are disagreeing with someone who's asking you a question, you then raise the doubt over whether they should be able to ask you that question. And frankly, one of the things I love most about being a New Yorker is how much disagreement is built into New York City life. And that's also a healthy part of New York City politics.
And then also, just thinking about it, you seem like you're always so level-headed. You seem like you're always kind of on top of things. Of course, what actually gets to you? When you're brushing your teeth at night, when you're, Mr. Mayor's turned off, what keeps you up at night?
I think the stakes of what we're talking about, even just today I was being asked about fires in New York City, right? These are not intellectual concerns. We're talking about New Yorkers who've lost their lives. And a lot of times you think about what are the ways in which we can fight for people today so that they can have a better tomorrow, right? When we're talking about the internet, when we're talking about affordability, we're also talking about making it easier for working class New Yorkers to just live in this city. And so I would say the stakes of all of this are what keep me up. But frankly, what keeps me on the ground is the team that I have around me, because I think oftentimes in politics, we ascribe all accomplishments to one person, when in reality, you are one part of an incredible team that is actually making it possible for you to not just respond to a crisis and everyone follows that crisis, but do that while you're also running a city of 8.5 million people.
Let's talk about World Cup then, high stakes. A lot of New Yorkers don't like soccer, don't know about soccer, and they're going to have a really disrupted couple of months, right? How would you pitch this tournament to New Yorkers who have never watched soccer, don't want to get, and say it's worth it? Are you pitching the game, the environment, bit of both? What's the sell?
It's all of the above. I mean, there are so many New Yorkers for whom they don't have a pre-existing love, and then the moment transforms them. I think about this is the truth with so many different sports. There were a lot of New Yorkers, for example, who it took one moment in one series, in one sport that brought them into that team. And I think this summer can be the same for the World Cup. There are a lot of New Yorkers, there are far more New Yorkers who won't be able to go to the game than there are who will be enjoying the game from across the city. And we want to show that this tournament is a glimpse also of the city we deserve, in terms of one that is easier to walk, to bike, to take public transit around, even to drive around the city, And we're doing that by making investments in the livability of the city in advance of the
Are you
tournament.
going to go to the games? Because obviously this is like a dream for you, right? It's in your backyard and you're mayor, but you've also spoken a lot about the affordability concerns. Are you actually going to go to the games, pay the $150 maybe?
Yeah, I have to be honest with you, I haven't made plans that far in advance. But what I will tell you is that my focus continues to be how can we make this as affordable of an experience as possible. You know, I went to the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa. I saw a few games. Some of my fondest memories, though, were outside of the stadium. It was at the fan zone. And one of the things we just announced is that we're going to make a fan zone in every single borough, and that fan zone is going to be free. It was previously announced that it would be something that would cost New Yorkers money to attend, and now we're going to make it something that every New Yorker can be a part of, and that's exactly what we want this tournament to be.
And any predictions for the World Cup? I asked you this before, but I want to give you a full chance. You've had some time to think about it. Can you give me a winner? Give me some people you think are going to sneak under the radar.
I cannot give you a winner. Can you give me a winner? Do you have a sense?
I think England probably.
Come on.
Tell me it's coming home, maybe.
Yeah.
Great clip for me.
I can't give it to you. I can't give it to you.
Awesome. Yeah, a few weeks back, you used a Mario Kart analogy to paint a picture of how private philanthropy and government can work together.
Yes, I did.
I might be one of those Americans you're trying to sell the World Cup to.
Yeah.
Is there an analogy you could paint for soccer in American life?
Ooh. Oh my goodness. An analogy. All right, do you remember, are you a basketball fan?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember Linsanity?
Of course. How could I forget?
Do you remember when Jeremy Lin,
Kobe
was-
did it, though. Kobe did it.
shout out to Kobe, when Jeremy Lin, the seconds were ticking down, he just held the ball, took the shot, I think it was against the Raptors, right, in Toronto. That feeling, I remember New York City as a whole just erupted, right? I was actually at college at the time watching on my phone. That same feeling of the time coming down and a clutch moment is also what you're going to see across this tournament. And I still remember the final of the last World Cup. And I was watching at Pig Beach in Astoria. And you don't even have to know all the players. You don't have to have watched the game in advance. You just have to be able to feel. And so many New Yorkers are going to feel that excitement. And I'm hopeful that we'll also see the U.S. men's national team progress further than we ever have before. And as someone who was also born in Uganda, I always have, you know, high hopes for any African nation, because Uganda, obviously, we haven't qualified, never have. And all of those things, I think this summer will really create an unforgettable experience for so many.
Really quick, on the Knicks, 76ers, how many games?
I mean, I'm going to say 6.
Six.
Yeah, and I'm going to say,
First, yeah.
and I'm going to say, you know, I hope that the refs are reffing this in the way that they should. I think Joel Embiid, I think the refs should just pay specific attention, you know, to making sure the laws of the game are being upheld.
Arsenal? I'm a Man City fan.
Oh my God. I didn't know you were plastic.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I'm family links, you know. That's where I'm from. Do you think title for Arsenal?
I pray, man. It's incredibly stressful. Bukayo being back was
We
amazing.
want to watch a game together. We can
I'm not watching a game with you. I'm not watching a game with a Man City fan. Come on.
make like unity.
Unity for everyone except Man City fans for the next few weeks.
Awesome. Thanks
All
for
right.
taking the time.
Thank you,
Really
man.
appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Have a good
Thank you.
day.
Thank
Can we get a
you.
photo with you really
Yeah,
quick?
for sure. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you,
so
guys.
much. Have a
Real
good
pleasure.
day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Congrats. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.